friends, it is the last day of July, which is totally wild to me. This year has just flown. I am Kelsey. I am over on Instagram at Essentially Booked and have now a booktube of the same name. Thanks for stopping by today. If you are liking what you see, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Help me grow my brand new booktube. I am surprised at how much I read in July. We were busy. We like have a 2-year-old too, so I'm shocked that I've gotten so much reading done. My son is very busy. I read 15 books, I believe. But yeah, I had a really great month. I have vlogged about a lot of books that I have read, so I won't go into detail on a lot of them, but some of them that I haven't done anything with, I will talk about. So let's get started. So the very first book I finished this month was Undercover Bromance. I did a post on this on my Instagram. This one, I thought I would like this book way more than I did, especially because it's about Braden Matt, who was a character I loved in the Bromance Book Club. This is the second book in the series. It's set in like the restaurant scene, and like there's a Me Too backstory. And I don't know, Mac was just not my type of hero. And I do read a lot of romance, and this one was just kind of meh for me. As far as the series goes, I would probably rank Bromance Book Club #1, and then Crazy Stupid Bromance #2, and then this one. I will read the fourth book. I can't remember. I think it's Isn't It Romantic here in the next month or two. And then there's a new one coming out around Christmas. So who knows what these will rank as towards the end, but Undercover Bromance was not my favorite. I did read Crazy Stupid Bromance during the Modern Mrs. Darcy Readers Weekend, and I talk about that in my vlog for that weekend. So okay, so I was editing this video and I realized that I didn't really like make a game plan with it as I was editing it. So, and now without further ado, you will get to see, I think, 3 books that I read in the middle of the month and am giving a review. My toddler also throws a toy down the steps in this part. And so there's a blooper at the very end of the video that's worth your time watching. I have read 3 books so far this month. Probably my favorite so far has been The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I am an attorney by trade, and this book is written as like a case file for some attorneys to kind of build their case, figure out who's guilty, and get one of their clients off. I really liked this book. The first like half was really propulsive, and then there were a couple characters that were very grating, and then at the end the attorneys start writing and try to figure out what's happening, and it didn't really hold me at that point, especially because I thought some of the things the attorneys were saying were dumb. Like I was like, that's not where my mind went, and I know they were trying to unpack this case. I was also annoyed because the partner gives these attorneys this assignment knowing what the answer is, and it was like he wanted them to fact check him, but like he knew the answer, and some of the things he was doing to these associates to figure it out really annoyed me, because that's not how it works in real life. And if you presumably have a client you're trying to get out of a charge, you're not gonna like send your associates on a wild goose chase for really no point. Like that's not a good use of resources or time. So that was kind of unbelievable for me, but all in all, this was really enjoyable. It's written like as a case file. So like there's emails that you're going through, and then like there's little chat bubbles and stuff as the associates are trying to talk to each other to figure out what's going on. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was enjoyable, but there were just some credibility things from my own personal experiences that I did not enjoy. And then a fun book I read this month, which I was just in a like travel romance read, is The Layover by Lacey Walden, and this was just really cute. It was pretty clean for romance, not very open door. I do read way more open door romance. I prefer it, honestly. So this wasn't what I like love in romance, but it was cute, fun, and it's about 2 flight attendants who fall in love on a weekend away. The author is a former flight attendant. And so it was just a really fun read. If you are looking for a summer lighthearted romance, definitely recommend this one. I think I read it in like a day and a half. Just, it was exactly what I needed at the time. On my Instagram, I actually laughed because I showed a picture of like the books that I checked out this month that were romantic comedies, and there's a theme, so I'll put that right here because it is really funny. I didn't really intend it, but I guess I was feeling something, so I'm really into beachy vibes this month. The book that I was pretty disappointed about, it was for Modern Mrs. Darcy Book Club. It's Bomb Shelter by Mary Laura Philpott. It's a memoir and essays, and there were some that I really, really liked. There were just some that were very grating, and like her tone was annoying, and kind of what she was trying to do was annoying. I really like the parts about her son. So this book starts off with her son having a medical event that kind of changes their life. And it's right before 2020, so there's also some like pandemic coming to terms in this book. I liked those parts. I didn't like her like weird side essays. There was one about like body image that I was just like, this doesn't really fit with the theme of the book, which it's a book of essays, so there wasn't really a theme. I don't know. It was okay. It was something I probably won't pick up another book by her. And I also just know that I struggle with essay collections. They're just not my thing because I do like a solid theme all the way throughout. I like to linearly follow stories. And so these are just sometimes really hard for me to read. Her writing's great, her voice is great, but this just wasn't for me. And then I read The Haunting of Hill House, which is a classic. It's really short. I think I read it in like a day and I really liked it. I know some people think it's boring, but it wasn't what I expected and what I had preconceived notions of. It wasn't that scary, but it had like that gothic vibe, which I really love. So that was really good for me. And then I read an audiobook. At the beginning of the year, I did like on Instagram, I asked 12 people to just recommend 12 books to me, and someone recommended When Sparks Fly by Helena Hunting. And if you know me, I think she's one of the first like contemporary romance authors I got into after I finished law school. This is one of her later books and she's gotten better at writing. Meet Cute was one of her later books too, but she also has a series called Puck and it's about like hockey players, and that series is laugh out loud, not my style. But When Sparks Fly was cute. It's about like two best friends, they're roommates, and she ends up getting into a car accident and her roommate, Declan, takes care of her, and through that like sparks fly and they fall in love, and it was cute. I listened to it on audio. It wasn't like the best romance novel I've ever read, but it was good. And then I did finish Old Country by Matt Query and Harrison Query. I really liked this. It was sent to me from Grand Central Publishing on Saturday. I started it immediately. It's just about an old spirit that haunts a family in the countryside. It just was a really good, fast-paced horror novel. It wasn't super scary, but it was like an indigenous spirit that was here before even people had settled the United States. There were parts that were super creepy and it was realistic and believable. So for me, I think with horror novels, that's super important, is that I kind of it has to be believable for me to really enjoy it. I'm not super cool into like far-fetched things yet. And I know there's some suspension of disbelief with horror. There has to just be something grounded in reality for me to really love it. So that was the second book I finished. Happy Thursday. So it is mid-month. Gosh, I don't even know what day it is. It is Thursday, the 21st of July. And I just finished another book and it needs to go back to the library, so I won't be able to film it in my end of the month wrap up. But I finished Bloomsbury Girls by Natalie Jenner. This is her second novel, and I guess it's a part of the Jane Austen Society. It's not really, there's like a couple carryover characters, but you don't need to read Jane Austen Society to understand this book. And it follows three women in a bookstore, Bloomsbury Books in London, right after the war, and kind of like, you know, during the war, women had kind of kept society going while men were off fighting. And now the men, for the most part, are back, and there's just, you know, they're mansplaining over the women, they're taking control of things, and these women have a lot of great ideas for this bookshop but aren't being listened to. And so it's kind of a story of just resilience and patience, bless these women's hearts, how they stick it to the man literally. It just got kind of slow in the middle. Like, she's a really great writer, but for me it just drug on and on. So I gave it 3 stars. Probably not one of my favorite ones of the year, but it was enjoyable. It's kind of also about the power of books and friendship and just storytelling and how that like feeling. So I liked that about that book, that like why we're readers and what books do for us, and then the power of a good friendship. So 3-star read, but that was Bloomsbury Girls by Natalie Jenner. Towards the end of the month, I read Lessons in Chemistry, which I have talked about, and it is a 5-star read. I loved it. Definitely lived up to the hype for me. And then also The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, I really enjoyed. I think I gave it 4 stars. It had more paranormal in it, which I really, really appreciated. I finished the newest Christina Lauren. I think I've read all of their backlist rom-coms. I started their Beautiful Bastard series. I haven't read their other series. This was probably in the middle of the road for me as far as their books. It was ridiculous and it was fun, it was escapist, but it was just not, I don't know, it's just a weaker one for me for them. I just kind of couldn't suspend my disbelief as much as I wanted to. And like knowing what they're capable of, like this one just wasn't up there. I did love, I think, The Soulmate Equation. Roomies is one of my favorites. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Dating, also super good. This one was kind of a letdown, honestly. And then I listened to the final revival of Opal and Nev on Libro FM. If you like Daisy Jones and the Six, I think you would like this. I actually am gonna check it out on like as a hard copy book from the library because I want to read it, because I think I was working as I was listening to it and I think I missed some important things. So right now it's a 3-star read, but I'm going to reread it. It is told as an oral history. The cast is phenomenal. I'm not the best audiobook listener, so that's kind of a weakness of mine for like comprehension. And so I will go check that book out because I feel like I will really love it if I read it now. Like read it as a hard copy, which is weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird like that with audiobooks, but I just feel like I missed things, and I think this is really, the subject matter is good. It's a little deeper than Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm excited to do that. And then the final book I read was A Mirror Mended, which is from the Fractured Fables series by Alex E. Harrow. This one's Snow White. I think the series is done after this. It sounded like it was wrapping up at the end of this book. I liked the first one better, A Spindle Splintered, but this was really fun. And that's all I read in July, which is just absolutely wild to me. Today I am going to go through all the books I acquired in July, and it was a lot. So I keep saying I'm gonna go on a book buying ban, and then I don't. Story of any bookworm's life, right? I acquired a ton. I'm gonna start with my smallest stack. I have them in 3 stacks. One is books I've purchased, books a friend gave me or like I was gifted, and then books from publishers. I'm gonna start with the first stack. So these are books that are gifted from some friends. So the first one I got is The Office BFFs by Angela Kinsey and Jenna Fisher. My husband and I listen to this podcast, and we also really like Brian Baumgartner's podcast. So this is just Angela and Pam's office experience. And then I got The 100 Years War on Palestine. I've been trying to read more Palestinian history. I studied politics in undergrad, took a class on the politics of the Middle East, and so I've been trying to read more broadly, especially with Middle Eastern conflicts. So the history of Palestine is one of those books I really wanted to read for that reason. Well, I mean, this is just a really tragic and fraught region, and I think it's important to see both sides. So that's what this is going to hopefully do for me. And then I got Payback's a Witch from my friend Rachel. She's More Than Pages on Instagram. I'll read this in October. It is this witch is back and ready for revenge with a little help from her friends in this fresh, sizzling rom-com. So, and then adoption has been a very big part of our life, and The Body Keeps the Score is a book I've wanted to read for a really long time. It's about trauma and the effect it can have on you. And then the final book that I acquired via gift is Hench, and this is like the opposite of a superhero book. So kind of the premise is really interesting. It's about a girl who was like injured as a bystander when a superhero was like saving the world, and so she becomes a villain in this story. I think there might be some disability representation in it as well, which I'm really excited about. This was a press for the Indie Press List from Currently Reading podcast as well. And so it's just been on my radar for a while. This stack is the books that I have purchased in July. I bought 2 books from Cafe Con Libros in Brooklyn, New York. This was, again, the Indie Press List from Currently Reading podcast. That's a podcast I adore, and if you feel like supporting them on Patreon, it's $5 a month, and it is like the best Patreon. They do like an indie press list where they partner with a bookstore, and that bookstore presses 5 books every month, and then like we shower that bookstore with support. Cafe Con Libros was first time I've ever interacted with them. I live in Iowa, so it's kind of cool to support other indie bookstores across the country. I grabbed Of Women in Salt and then The Five Wounds. I don't really know much about either of them. One has is based in Cuba, and then the other one is Mexico, areas I don't read enough of, but I'm super interested in. And then one of my in real life book clubs, we are reading The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek. Another book club I'm in, we read The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes, and there was some controversy with these two books, so I'm kind of excited to see how close they are and my thoughts on that controversy. I grabbed 3 from Pango. The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. Kayla from Books and Lala talked about it, and then I just am really interested in the premise of this. I can't decide if it's gonna be like a zombie horror novel at the end of the world or what, but we'll see. And then I grabbed Snow Falling on Cedars. It's a winner of the Penn Faulkner Award. This is about like a Japanese internment fisherman, I believe, in like the past from World War II. I don't know much about it. I just know that I've had multiple people tell me it's one of the best books they've ever read. So I'm really excited about that. I've never read Ruth Ware, and I think I need to change that. So I grabbed One by One. After I bought this, I was on BookTube, and I've heard from a lot of people this isn't their favorite Ruth Ware, but we'll see. I'm excited to read it and see what I think. My book of the month pick this month was You're Invited. It's a thriller set in Sri Lanka. I'm just really, what could be worse than your ex-boyfriend marrying your childhood best friend? Getting accused of her murder. Womp, womp, womp. That's my book of the month pick. I do have a referral code for book of the month if you've never used it. It's a great way to read books that you might not read every month. They've been doing a better job on diversity. I think they could even do better, but that's a story for another day. Finally, the books that I've gotten from publishers. So the next one I got from Harper Perennial. It is The Arsonist City, and then I found out that this is gonna be our Modern Mrs. Darcy pick for October, I believe, so I'm really excited about that. This one is the Nasser family, a Syrian mother, a Lebanese father, and 3 American children are across the globe. Blech. A personal look at the legacy of war in the Middle East and an indelible rendering of how we hold on to the people and places we call home. So this sounds like it will be up my alley based on the things that I like to read. And then All the Lonely People by Mike Gale came to me from Grand Central Publishing. I think Katie of Currently Reading Podcast has also raved about this. It's about an old curmudgeon, which is like, put it in my veins. I love them. Excited to have received that one from Grand Central. I did a post of this on Instagram, but Nobody's Princess by Erica Ridley. I have not read Erica Ridley, but a lot of people love her as far as historicals go. And so I'm really excited to pick this one up. I love historical romance, and you will see that a lot on my channel. The other thing that I love a ton of is food writing. 10 Tomatoes That Changed the World from Grand Central Publishing, and it's a look at the tomato. It is about like, there's 10 chapters, and each chapter is a different like aspect of the tomato. So one is about spaghetti, one is about heirloom tomatoes, one's about pizza, one is the San Marzano tomato. So this, I love food writing. And then the other food writing book I got is A Waiter in Paris by Edward Chisholm. This one was sent to me by Pegasus Books. And this is just about a chef's experience in Parisian kitchens. That's another thing I really love is Paris. So kind of gonna be like Kitchen Confidential. And then a book set in Paris. I have not read her first one, Half Blown Rose by Lisa Cross Smith, the author of This Close to Okay. I requested it, but I never got it. So, an irresistible story of a woman remaking her life after her husband's deception leads to a year of travel, art, and passion in Paris. I also have this on audio from Libro FM, so it'll be easy to like tandem read it. And then finally, the last book from this huge stack that I was so freaking excited that the publisher reached out to me is Paul Hollywood's newest cookbook, Bake. This is from Bloomsbury. This one's paperback. When it's finished, it'll be like a hardcover. And there are some photos, but like, I love the Great British Baking Show, and so there's some that I will for sure make, and I might even feature them on here, so we will see. But yeah, that's all the books I've acquired in July, which is ridiculous. All right, guys, talk to you later. I will do an August TBR. Normally, this will go up on the first Sunday of August. I will only be doing like one video a week typically, but I'm gonna put my August TBR up before this. So you'll see that. Great July. I'm excited to keep growing this channel. I'm excited to keep reading in community and meet new people. And again, if you like what you saw, please comment and subscribe and like my video. Just support me as I get launched. I do like to talk in the comments, so if you've made it all the way through, do the music note emoji, and have a great day. and I really liked this. Kid just threw a car down the steps.